Okay, we're looking at question 5, LSAT Logical Reasoning, Prep Test 54. This is section 2, question 5. Boy, that was a heck of a wind-up right there, wasn't it? The reasoning in B's argument is flawed in that the argument. Okay, so what is the difference between the reasoning in the argument versus weakening the argument? Okay, the reasoning in the argument is just explain to me what is going on that's the flaw in the argument. And to weaken the argument is give me an answer choice that provides a fact that makes us say, gee, that argument's not right. Okay, so what do we have going on here? Okay, it's a very, very hardcore club. Let's call it the chess club. Okay, the chess club is not effing around. Okay, and they're real big on being prompt. As a matter of fact, I'm not a chess player, but I would imagine that if you can't be on time to the chess club meetings, then in that checkerboard grid, and I'm not talking about checkers, I'm talking about chess, then you're not prepared to go to battle, okay? How can you see 5 moves ahead if you can't show up on time, or if you can't show up to a meeting at all? That's what I'm talking about. That's what's going on here. All right, so here's what we have. Any officer, okay, if you're late for any of the quarterly board meetings, let's just pretend like we're not talking about a company. A board meeting is like the chessboard. If you're late for any of the quarterly board meeting, okay, or if you miss any 2 monthly meetings, then you are suspended. Okay, you are donezo. All right. So we have 2 things that you can do to end up getting suspended, and then we say T is suspended, but has never missed a monthly meeting. So we know that he has not done this. Okay, but what do we conclude? That he must therefore have done that. Okay? All right, so hopefully you can just see this flaw right away, okay? I mean, we've got a situation where we've created 2 choices that cause you to be suspended, okay? That if there's there's 2 reasons that you can be suspended, and we conclude because you haven't done one, then you must have done the other. The small problem here is it doesn't say these are the only reasons you can get suspended. Like, what if you were to stalk like one of the chicks in the chess club? Probably the only one, okay? And she's probably pretty nerdy, but because you're so nerdy, she's hot, dude, and you're following her around. And even the nerdies in the chess club, they're like, dude, you are weird. You need to be suspended, okay? So that could happen. So the problem is this argument doesn't foreclose on any other thing happening, and that's the issue with it. So let's go through and take a look at what we've got. Let's look at A, fails to consider the possibility that T has arrived late for 2 or more monthly general meetings. Yeah, okay, so sorry for the delay there. This one kind of threw me off for a minute. We don't really care if he's arrived late, right? I mean, this is dealing with missing. This is dealing late for the quarterly meetings. We don't care if he's arrived late for the monthly meetings. That's not a choice. Therefore, that falls out. B, presumes without providing justification that if certain events each produce a particular result, that no other event is sufficient to produce that result. Well, that certainly sounds like it, right? These are certain events that can produce a result, but are there others? So B really does sound like the correct answer. Let's look at C, though. Takes for granted that an assumption required to establish the argument's conclusion is sufficient to establish that conclusion. And that's getting necessary and sufficient mixed up. And we don't do that here, okay? We don't mix up necessary and sufficient. We take 2 answer choices, and because we take 2 choices because one hasn't happened, conclude that the others happened, okay? We're not mixing up necessary and sufficient here. Let's look at D, fails to specify at what point someone arriving at a club meeting is officially deemed late. Well, I want to know that. And by the way, if I ran that chess club, if you were 30 seconds late, or what some dude did to me in 6th grade, just because if you weren't in your chair, okay, by the time the meeting started, you're late, all right? That's cool to know, but is that a flaw in the argument? No, we just use the term late is late. Like, we don't have some guy saying, but I wasn't late, man. I was there. I was in the parking lot. We don't have anything like that going on. Okay, so D falls out. And then E does not specify how long T has been an officer. I'd like to know that. I'm sure you would too, but that's not relevant. Therefore, it's not a flaw in the reasoning. B, that's what B is saying. Look, you're saying two things. You're implying that because one happened, it must be the other, but we didn't foreclose on there being more things happening. So we know that B is the correct answer to the question.